5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire. The only thing we have to fear is fear.
Mile 18.
This is Endurance Nation.
Are you tired of just losing your fitness every year? Of getting out there on the open road come springtime and everyone else is still faster than you and you're not making progress? We understand. We created the Outseason program just for you. It's a 14-week protocol for triathletes and gravel cyclists with an opportunity to lock in through your Zwift workouts and focused training to unlock your potential by targeting functional threshold and high VO2 workouts with some endurance on the weekends. We build your fast before you're far. So by the time you get to the spring, you can turn down the fast and start adding some volume when the weather gets nice and unleash your endurance potential. Stop following the same program and hoping you get different results. Head over to endurancenation.us/outseason to get our 14-week program for one low price now.
Hey there, Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation. I just want to say, it's your half Ironman this weekend. You're in your office, you're dreading of going outside to your car because you know the upholstery of your car is super hot. And you know the stuff that you left in the back, like those groceries, if you left it back there, toast, probably even like spontaneously combusted. And while the news line is filled all about rains and flooding and other natural disasters, the number one thing on your mind appropriately is how can you not just fall completely apart in the heat. Well, I'm here today to talk to you about 5 different strategies you can follow to make sure that you're okay. Some of them are longer term, some of them are shorter term. But you should know that appropriately handling the heat on race day becomes a competitive advantage. So when something difficult shows up on race day, the first reaction of most athletes is to actually freak out, right? Like, I want to keep it at arm's distance. This is a nightmare for me. I don't want you anywhere near me. But from a competitive standpoint, it's actually awesome because the minute that the environment gets worse, like half of the competition is out because they're not going to solve it. They're like, I'm just going to ignore it. And they're going to be like, la, 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 I'll be fine. Like heat, whatever, thermometer, like warning signs, red flags, like whatever. I'll be fine. I'm just going to do what I always do and things will sort themselves out. Well, I got bad news for you. When things get hot, things don't get sorted out. Things shut down, right? And so we're going to talk a little bit about some of these strategies today. So real fast, as a recap, Coach Patrick here, Endurance Nation. Been to Kona 10 times, done a ton of hot races. As a bigger athlete, I'm 6'2", on a good day, a $185, massive surface area, just a big human being to race under strain and to be successful. So heat has always been something that I've had to manage on race day. The more aggressive my racing became and the longer the distances I want to do, it just became more and more of a factor. And then also add in the age. So heat has been something that's been front of mind for me consistently, and it's been a challenge that I continue to wrestle with. And part of the reason why I highlight that is every year is another opportunity to have this conversation with yourself because your body changes as you get older, as your fitness levels differentiate themselves, as you maybe have more or less body composition or you're more composed at the beginning of the year, as I am wont to be versus not. It ultimately changes how you're going to do the equation in terms of keeping yourself safe and ultimately fast and outperforming the competition. So what do you do? Right. Well, the first thing to understand is just to get to the basics of what happens. Like there's a massive compromise to your physical performance. Most athletes lose somewhere between 8 and 15% of their performance in the heat. So the fade is real. So if you're used to that sort of like running a half marathon and really struggling from mile 10 or a marathon or struggling from mile 18 or mile 20, just being outside on a regular run on an abnormally hot day, hotter than what you're used to or more humid than what you're used to, things get worse, right? We have goal adjusted pace or grade adjusted pace for how fast we're running relative to the train we're on, but we don't have this heat adjusted pace, which is actually when it's 90 degrees and 90% humidity, these 9-minute miles, it's actually like a 7.5-minute mile because I would have been flying if it weren't for these conditions that I was inside. So it's really important to understand that the heat actually forces you to slow down, and that's not because you have a problem, it's just because you're not acclimated and you need to slow down to maintain your speed, which ultimately is our goal on race day. Got to bring it back to racing, right? You thought for a second I was going to talk about something else. No, you actually want to slow down less than the competition. So you know when it's going to be a hot day, that sun's just beating down on you, that your competition is going to be suffering. They're going to be slowing down faster right? So the longer you can not slow down, the more you can extend that window, you're just being faster than them over time. It gets harder and harder for them to work to keep up with you because they're already suffering. All right, enough of the stories, enough about the drama. What do we do? So your number one secret weapon is heat acclimation. And I've done episodes on that here, and you can also just search the internet to learn more about it. But becoming acclimated to the conditions in which you'll be competing is really critical. So ideally, you can get to the place where you'll be racing. When I've raced in Mexico before, or Florida, or Hawaii, getting there 7 days, sometimes even 10 days ahead of time, allows my body to adapt. Goes from overcompensating and I'm a human sprinkler to finally getting to a place where it's a run brings about like normal sweat rate, normal physiological response to the time. Not everyone has that luxury, which is why there's sauna protocols or hot bath protocols or training in the heat protocols, all of which will elevate your core body temperature and challenge you with the same type of physiological response that you'd have when you're out there in the heat. So anything you can do in the last couple of weeks to acclimate to the heat can be beneficial for you. Way back in the day, some people just go get a tan. They get a tanning sauna and be like, I'm solving themselves. I laugh about that. No one talks about that these days, but boy, that was like the thing. Go get a tan, go to a tanning bed. Now we know much better, we know differently, but the real math still exists, which is the more adapted you can become to the heat, the better. So most protocols are 2 to 3 weeks long, and you would do them in the last couple of weeks into your race, give you a chance to train under those conditions, notice the physiological difference, and more importantly, carry that blood volume and the adaptation into your race itself. If you did it from weeks 5 to 3 and then just didn't do it for 3 weeks, you're going to lose that adaptation because you're not consistently under the load of the heat. So you have to be very smart and meaningful with using heat acclimation as a training tool and as a device, but just as you should know that if you're going to go walking into a hot race and you know it's hot now, you can start taking steps. And number one is doing yourself acclimation wise. You get more comments on that or questions, you can always reach out. Happy to help you out, or just again use the internet, search Endurance Nation, heat acclimation, or sauna protocols. All right, next up, hydration. Now, most people think about endurance racing, they think about calories. I need 400 calories an hour, I need 300 calories an hour. Everyone loves doing that math because like the bigger the number, it seems like more badass or more sexy. It's just a bigger number, folks. And so when you think about what it means to be successful in a hot race, it's actually more about hydration and being able to consistently take in the fluids you need. The hydration is effectively what keeps the goldfish tank, that is you, happy over time. You're going to be sweating, your body, your muscles will need more fluids. And if you are not consuming enough of the fluids you need to run that system, you're going to run into trouble, right? Your body will divert water sometimes to your gut. If you've got too much of a concentration in there, like if it gets kind of sloshy, your body's responding to what's happening in your gut. It's shunting water to your gut, and it's pulling it from elsewhere in your body. You do not have an infinite source of water, and as a result, you can really be in a tough space. So understanding how much fluid you need from a sweat test is mission critical. Endurance Nation has a sweat test protocol. Again, you can go ahead and take a look at that, search the internet. We even have a course about it with a video and components and a spreadsheet. But regardless, doing that sweat test lets you know I'm a 2 bottles an hour kind of person, or I'm a 1 bottle or 1.5 bottle. Whatever that is, now you know. So you have a number that you can hit on race day to keep yourself safe. In some cases, if you're doing a bike workout, for example, or in a bike race, you can actually drink maybe a little more because you can consume it. You're not actually jostling, running about, etc. But really getting good about the hydration, and specifically, I'm not super worried about the calories. Choose the hydration you like. Make sure it's got a good amount of sodium in it. We usually target between 800 and 1,000 milligrams per hour, either in the fluid or fluid plus salt supplement. Take that, what you like, and then you can figure out the calories on the back end. So if that gives you only 150 calories because it's low cal across your 2 bottles, we can add in more calories if we need to. If it gives you 450 calories and that's too much, then we're going to have to figure out a way to dilute that and take it down. Again, the whole point here is to make sure you're taking in adequate fluids over time, because the dehydration is far more costly than not having enough calories. You can go without food for a long time. You can't go without water for very long at all. You just run into trouble. Race day is no different, my friends. It's still you, a human, dealing with this situation. All right. Next up, checking the ego at the door. This is hard for anyone on any given day. And for athletes who've been training for a race and feel fit and have ambitions and goals usually tied to numbers, checking your ego is really hard. But looking at the dial and seeing like the sun, but it's like a red, angry face staring at you back on your smartphone, it's kind of pretty convincing. And if you have someone who actually cares about you, still after all these years of doing the sport, they're going to tell you you have to be careful out there. And the number one thing what they're really saying is, and what you should be saying to yourself, is I got to check my ego at the door. I cannot continue to run blindly, literally, or force myself into a position where I'm going to be in danger because I'm just ignoring the environment within which I'm racing. So really dialing things back. And it's hard to do when you and I are sitting around a table and I'm saying, I know you want to run 9-minute miles, but I want you to run 10s for the first 6 miles of your Ironman. You're going to be like, I'm losing 6 minutes. That's a nightmare. What you don't anticipate is the fact that the majority of the competition is going to do their same old thing no matter what. In fact, they'll already be trouble off the bike. And their 10-minute miles, which was a good pace for them, is going to turn to 20 or 25-minute miles when they're stumbling about later in the race. So you don't have to run 8s to be competitive if other people are definitely going to be blowing up. And you can position yourself more carefully. And the only way you can do that is by taking the ego and allocating the resources to say, I don't need you to make me work harder now. I need you to put your energy into making me be smarter now, right? Smarter is not easy, but smarter beats harder every single time. And when race day is all about not slowing down, making sure that you check the ego. So it's as simple as that conversation, great. But if you're more nuanced, like some people who've been racing for a while, you may need to come up with some markers or thresholds that really kind of hold you down, like a cap, like a speed cap, a pace cap, a power cap, a core body temperature cap, whatever those things are, right? You may need to come up with, different strategies for staying cool. Run, walk, for example, which is a huge blow to your relationship with your ego as a racing athlete. But all those things can help you stay on track and make you super successful. So don't even worry about, before you get to the protocols, talk to the ego, have that conversation, and figure out how much of a box you can put it in. You'll be surprised that it's actually putting your ego in reserve when you're going to need it the most at the end of your day. All right. Number 4, dress for the weather. Like, it's hard to believe I have to say this because most people have their kit and they're just going to wear what they want to wear. But when it's hot, your entire body is exposed to this heat. You need wicking material on. You need something that's going to allow you to pour water all over yourself. It's not going to inhibit your ability to move. If you have something that's got shoulder coverage, like going to like a half sleeve shirt like this t-shirt, it made a huge difference for me in Hawaii because I had the sun off my upper back and my shoulders. Some people will actually race with larger hats on to fight the sun composition. Some people carry nutrition or carry hydration as a backup. Apparel actually is a really strategic choice to make sure you're going to be successful. For me, when I think about apparel, again, I'm covering my shoulders for sure, so I'm super good there. I've got a hat on that can hold ice for me if I need to put ice inside this hat. It's also great for the sun. I can turn it no matter where the sun is, like this. I can go full, I can go backwards and be like, we're going to fight our way through this when I got the sun behind me, right? I guess I could go rally cab as well if I really wanted to when I'm in deep, deep trouble. But also, like, beyond that, putting ice in my shirt, staying wet as I need to, trying to keep my feet dry as long as I can, really important. Having lots of pockets where I can carry stuff. Sometimes even having a bag, I could put ice in something and have it later if I wanted to. Sunglasses on for sure on super sunny, hot days. Sounds crazy, but just having the sun on your eyes so you're not squinting all the time makes a huge mental difference for yourself. But ultimately, above all else, testing this gear in similar conditions. So we're part of this acclimation protocol. It's working out during the middle of the day. Get out there in your kit, run in it, ride in it, swim in it, see how it feels, make those adjustments and calibrations. Now, we want no surprises on race day, and a large part of that is making sure that you've been doing really consistent apparel choices over those final few weeks of your workouts. All right, number 5, last but not least, recover like it's your job. My friends, if you want to string workouts together, it's not about having more willpower. It's about doing the things between the workouts to make sure you can show up for the next one. And when things get hot, when you're training in hot conditions or you're preparing for a hot race, the recovery piece becomes critical. You can only consume so much fluid in a run session for an hour, but if you lose 2 pounds of water, we have to get it back to your equilibrium. It's tempting to get on the scale after a long workout and a hot day and say, I lost 6 pounds. You didn't lose 6 pounds. You lost all that water, right? Like, that's a bad place to be. If 16 ounces is a pound and you lost 6 pounds, that means you lost 96 ounces of fluid. Like, you're practically a raisin at this point. Like, you're really in a bad space. And being dehydrated inhibits your ability to recover. It increases your HRV. It ruins your night's sleep. And it really starts to eat away at you, much like sleep deprivation gets to you. And so making sure that you're adequately recovered is critical. So on hotter days, I'm always putting a bottle in the fridge before I leave for a workout. So when I come back, I've got a cold beverage I know that I can have right away. I make sure I've got hydration packets that have additional sodium in them. And I'm certainly not holding back on all the beverages except for the alcohol, which I'll shy away from because again, after a hot session or hot workout, again, that's just a diuretic. It's going to sap your energy even more. So to recap for today, what we talked about, and I'm going to pull up this list here so I have it. Number 1, we talked about heat acclimation. Number 2, we talked about hydration. Number 3, we talked about checking your ego. Number 4, we want you to train smarter by dressing smarter, right? Dress smart, baby. Look sharp, sharp is fast, and then ultimately recovering like it's your job, recovering like a pro. Being successful on race day in the heat, again, isn't about some sort of genetic component or advantage. The struggle that we face in end of June, early July here in the Northeast isn't a problem in 4 or 5 weeks because we've adapted to the heat. We've made that acclimation. You can be smart about it, proactive, and if you know what the conditions will be, you'll already start working on those protocols to make sure that you can get down to business, not be bothered or distracted by the heat, but instead turn it into your competitive advantage. If you've got questions, comments, or feedback, hit me up in the comments. I'm always happy to answer you. You can always find me at endurancenation.us or on Twitter or TeamEN, or you can find me on Instagram as well at Team Endurance Nation. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm going to go back to planning out that YouTube content strategy as we go forward, but I hope you're staying cool out there. Be smart, wear sunscreen, take care of your body. Love you all. Talk to you soon.
Endurance Nation.
Hey, podcast fans. I know you love the podcast because here you are, you're listening to it and you're still listening to me talk right now. Did you know you can get content just like this in your inbox once a month? We send out a great newsletter. We call it, guess what? The Unfair Advantage. That's right. It's our information to you, something that separates you from the competition. If they're not here, then they don't know. But if you are here, then now you do. Zero excuses. If you go check us out online at endurancenation.us/newsletter, it's your opportunity to enter your email address, sign up for these updates. They come once a month, sometimes twice a month, depending on my race schedule. And it's your chance to get insider information that's going to help you become a better, smarter athlete. Don't miss out on this chance to get ahead of the competition. It doesn't cost you any money, and it's not a ton of work. It's just your email address. That's endurancenation.us/newsletter.
For more information about Endurance Nation, visit us online at endurancenation.us. The provided music is from the Podshow Podsafe Music Network. Check it out at music.podshow.com.